We are at the top of the hour, so we can go ahead and get started. A lot of content to cover, so I want to make sure that we have plenty of time for that and also questions. So quickly, I'll go through some logistical information, then we'll get started. As usual, these are always for you. Fresh ideas, better understanding, practical guidance. Of course, they're being recorded. It'll be out on Community and YouTube probably in a couple days, depending on when I get to recording. Please ask questions. Utilize the Q&A for questions because we do have other panelists that are on that can answer questions while the content is being covered. Chat is great for hellos and general statements, but if you have a question, if you could put those in the Q&A, that would be really, really great. Safe harbor, super important today, so make sure that you're aware of the safe harbor and what exactly it means and decision making and all of those things. I am Thomas Davis, and I have Olga and Daniel and Dan Kane on. I put Marta there. Maybe Marta will come, but Olga and Daniel are going to present and demo AI Data Explorer. So super excited about that. So AI Data Explorer is what we're going to talk about today. So if you're unfamiliar with it, this is going to be a great session for you. So with that, Olga or Daniel, who's going first?
I'll start. Thank you. Hopefully you see the right screen. Today we will finally present the AI Data Explorer, which is a new AI-powered tool which will enable business users to seamlessly explore the data with help of AI. They can document the findings, they can collaborate on the insights with other users in their organizations to be able to drive data-informed decisions in ServiceNow. So let's look a little bit more on the capabilities which it provides. Just a quick reminder first, so this is not available yet. This product is coming later this quarter. So keep an eye early December to have it rolled out. So let's talk a bit more about features of the AI Data Explorer. So the first part is AI-powered insights. This is, of course, the core of the product. We want to help business users to just use a natural language to get analytic insight. So they don't need to know how to use a tool, so they need to know how to build like the dashboards or data visualization in the ServiceNow to get these insights, or they don't need to know exactly what a data structure is, like what exactly the table name, what exactly the technical names of the column, etc. They just ask the question and they get instant insights and answer to their questions. The next part of it is a contextual entry points. So everywhere in your application, whether you're in your workspace, in the platformatic dashboards, or you're just working on the list, whether it's classic or seismic list, Explore with AI options is instantly available. So you will see the small sparkle icon on the data visualization. If this data visualization is supported by the AI, the data behind it is supported. We'll talk later about limitations. You can just right away ask the questions, and system knows where you are, they know the data about it, and you don't need to give this additional context. You can just keep on in the exploration. And on the list, you will have also explore button in the header of your list, where you can jump in and ask the question as well. We have few different options. You have a standard mode, which will just give you data visualization and quick answer on top of it. But we have also advanced analysis options available in the tool. The first one is extended data analysis. So in your input box, you can see there's extended and standard analysis. With extended analysis, you have additionally can find hidden insights behind your data. So explore the patterns based on the different breakdown analysis of the data you are looking at. So you can get more insight, understand what is the breakdown of your data, if there's any specific patterns of how the data are allocated, without you need to ask and explore each dimension separately. And the record level analysis is a feature which you will need to, during the configuration, to opt in. We will show later how to do that. It will allow you for the smaller set of data, if it's less than 50 records, it will give you insights directly about, based on the raw information of the records. Think about short description, all the fields available, which you care about most. So it can give aggregate information based on your questions to give more targeted and powerful insight, not just based on the aggregated information that you see on the chart. Then additionally, you can set the goal of your exploration, especially if you do more complex exploration, or you're working with other people to work on some outcome. Setting the goal will help other people to understand the goal of this document, of this exploration you're doing, but it also will help AI to guide you better. So you will see during the demo, with every part of the things we have is suggested next question. So AI will suggest you based on your current explorations, what could be the next logical question to help you explore effortlessly. With the clear goal set, this AI doesn't need to guess what you want. It can know what exactly you're looking for, and it will guide you to get to this goal faster. And everything you see in the exploration is just a document. So you can edit any part of it. You can add your own insights. You can adjust any text generated by AI to tell your story to make it only relevant information available. You will enrich the insight which AI provided with your own knowledge, because of course, as a business user, so you know better what could have caused you. You can have your ideas. You can tag users. You can work with together and get to these powerful insights. Then sharing collaboration. As mentioned, you can collaborate. It's real-time collaboration tool, so you can share it with your colleagues. You can tag them or just use a standard sharing capability as other platform analytics like dashboards or reports has. You can give different access levels if they want to just give you access or edit, and you can collaborate real time. And choose to move it even further, you can enrich insight with external data. You don't limit it to only data which is available within ServiceNow. Sometimes there's a lot of useful information in ServiceNow, but sometimes this very important piece of information is in the different system. We extended the support of data sources with the workflow data fabric, so you can connect external systems, whether it's Snowflake, Bricks, some other systems, and bring the data in ServiceNow, and this AI Data Explorer will be able to use this data to provide you additional insight and enrich your ServiceNow data with external data and provide better insights. And if you find something really interesting during your analysis and you say like, hey, I actually want continuous to monitor this, you can add it to your dashboard. You can add it to the existing dashboard, to the new dashboard. Or if you did exploration and something actually want to do this exploration continuously, maybe you want to repeat it again after months, you can just duplicate the entire exploration and refresh the data to get the fresh insight. And with that, let's see how it actually look in real life. Pass it to Daniel, and then we can answer questions after it. Or if there's any relevant questions, maybe we need to answer first.
Hey everybody. Yeah, I'm going to take over and give you a quick demo of AI Data Explorer quickly. And then we can go through some questions. So I have here a nice demo hub instance. Some of you may be familiar with these, which are a bunch of demo data, some realistic looking demo data on it. And we have an incident dashboard here, and we're going to be looking into some incidents using AI Data Explorer. You can see here at the bottom, I have this huge spike in incidents on my Power Cart application. So as Olga said, on all these visualizations, we have these little sparkle icons that we can click. And if I click on them, I get a little pop-up that lets me ask questions about this data. I have a couple of additional starter prompts here. I can also choose between extended and standard analysis. And I have an option to immediately ask a question or just add it to an exploration, create an exploration with this chart. So I'm going to start with that. See, when I click this button, the AI Data Explorer opens up in context. It doesn't navigate me away. So while I'm on this dashboard, I have it here. I can make this full screen. I can also open this in a new tab and drag it around, and I can resize it. So it stays with me as I move through the page. If I was to navigate away to something else like the incident list, it would follow me there as well. And so it allows me to keep adding things to the Explorer if I wanted to from anywhere in the platform. But let's start with the analysis just here. So I've added this chart to my AI Data Explorer, and the first thing I want to do is just set the goal here. So my goal here is to investigate the cause of customer checkout issues with the Power Cart application. The reason that you're going to want to give the goals, it just helps the large language model understand the end question you're trying to answer, as it's trying to generate answers to the individual questions you're asking, right? So an individual question might not be aligned with the full goal, but giving the large language model the additional context really helps. And to answer your question, Samuel, to bring it up, I clicked the Sparkle icon or the Explore with AI icon on the dashboard I was in. So there was a little, oh, that's not the right page. There was a little, the little dashboard, little sparkle icon on the dashboard that I was in. Moving on though. So let's start digging into these, this analysis. So the first thing I want to look at is see which of my CIs is causing this, could be potentially contributing to this power card issue. So I can go off here into the chat at the bottom, and I can ask it to show these incidents grouped by configuration item. And this is then going to go in, it's going to go to our query generation skill framework, figure out what I'm talking about. It uses the context of the document above to understand, infer any things that are missing, and will go in and generate me a chart, as well as then do an answer generation on top of that chart. That seems to have spat out. I'm not sure why it spat that out. Let's try that again. The demo gods might not be shining on me today. You'll see here I've got hidden insights enabled, and that might be why. No, there we go, worked fine this time. So it's come in and it's generated me a nice answer to this question, and it's found out that the most biggest contributor to this is actually our chart service. Our cart service in our e-commerce module has the biggest part of the incidents, and also highlights some additional things using hidden insights. It's looking in and it's found that we have some interesting things that we might look like 80% of our incidents are actually missing a configuration item, and that 20% of our incidents are all related to this Power Cart app. And there's almost a one-to-one overlap between Power Cart issues and chart service issues. So Hidden Insights takes a little bit longer to run, and does this additional querying to get the additional analysis. And this is something that I can turn off over here if I wanted to, if I just knew that I wanted a quick question and answer. So right now I'm waiting to see what the trend of these Power Cart incidents were created per day in 2025, for example. We'll go in and we'll add this to my documents. I can also then go in and I can, because this is a document, I can edit things in this document. So I can go above here. I can, for example, just delete this line of AI generated output if I didn't want it. I can change the bolding. I can also tag users. So at this point, I can go in and I can tag Olga. Tag. Thank you. I can tag in somebody like Olga to come and look at anything. Olga doesn't have an account on this instance. She's going to be main. I could tag in somebody like Anna and say, Anna, can you please take a look at this? And then because we support real-time collaboration, if I go ahead and share this quickly with Anna, it's already done and populated for me. Can see, oh, Anna then has access, and you can see that Olga's come in and popped up on this as well. I think she might have an account actually. Oh, she does. Oh, I can tag her directly as well. The need to tag Anna. And she can then start typing and working in this document as well. And all of this happens in real time. So I can go in and I can delete this line, and she can keep typing below, and these changes are syncing in real time across everybody's application. So she's going to go in, write in her thoughts. While she's doing that, I want to keep doing a bit more analysis. She thinks that we had a change in the service. So I'm going to go and try and pull in those change requests, right? So I can go in and say, compare this data with the trend of change requests applied to the online shopping service, for example. And now that will go in and pull that data into the exploration as well. And I could even go so far as to pull in those individual records. So we see here in this first trend that we actually have this big spike over February 18th in terms of incidents. So we know that that's when those popped up. And we can see here that in terms of change requests, we actually had a spike in change requests in February as well. So for the online shopping service, we had a bunch of additional things happen there. So what I want to see is those change request items. And so I can pull in a list of those as well. And I can ask it to show me a list of those February changes. And from the context of everything, it'll now pull in me a list. And this is how you go about using AI Data Explorer. So we've got real-time collaboration. We have some advanced analysis like up here. And then I can see here that we had an automated software deployment for PowerCart that went through. And then we actually detected that we had our big spike of incidents. And then the system actually detected that and automatically reverted it on the 20th of February as well. And then everything was, we saw our incidents drop off as well for PowerCart. So with that, I want to add these to a dashboard, right? To be able to take this and maybe start monitoring this. So I can click on this chart over here. I can click add to new dashboard. You'll see here that it shrunk my little window and kept it with me, started a new dashboard for me and added it to it. So I can go in and resize that. And then what I can also do is I can click on another one, say I want to keep this comparison chart, and I can just add it to the existing dashboard, and it does that quite seamlessly in real time. At which point I can go in and I could close my exploration, save this dashboard, continue making customizations in the config panel as we go. The config panel is quite a bit more powerful versus the panel that we have in the UI, which is a lot more simplified. It just talks about any additional filter changes that you may want to apply. And then the last thing we can do is we can always summarize. So we can use AI to summarize our exploration, and this will generate us a nice AI-powered summary of everything that we've done. Like everything else, this is fully collaborative and editable, so I can go in and I can change or add a point here that our automated detection system worked well and proactively reverted the changes. We need to do more testing in the future, and I can tag Olga again for that. And
hey Daniel, I apologize for interrupting here. We have a request asking if you could slow down a little bit, especially as it relates to moving around the screen. That's
sure. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. No, happy to. And then well, we've reached the end, so not much.
Why don't you maybe, Daniel? Why don't you just maybe
just
if you could do just like a really quick
summary,
not quick recap, because we said you were going a little fast, but just like a summary if you can over everything again.
Sure. So from dashboards, right, or from anywhere in the incident. So I started from a dashboard. I can go in and I can click on the sparkle icon. You'll see them on any visualization we support. And these little sparkle icons pop over these little popovers and let me add things to an exploration. So in this state, I've got an exploration open and I can actually add data to an existing exploration. So I can collect a whole bunch of visualizations in. So I can take this problem and I'm going to use one of these predefined prompts and say, analyze the trend, and it will immediately push this into my exploration down at the bottom. So then with this data coming in, I've got this floating window that I can move around and will essentially follow me through the platform, where I can go and collect visualizations. I can go to a list and add a list to the exploration, basically build up a context of information that I think is useful to do data exploration alongside asking questions. And then inside Data Explorer, I can just maximize this for ease of use. I can go and ask, sorry for scrolling so fast, I can go to the bottom of this document and I can ask a question. There's also a little button at the top to help me get there if I was at the top. I can ask questions with natural language. and the large language model will pull in data into the Explorer document to answer that question. And then alongside that, we have two modes: a standard analysis mode, which is what you're seeing here with these short little answers that have been generated all over here. And then we have an extended analysis mode. And I can switch between them here, and it will remember my preference. And an example of an extended analysis output is something like this, where it's gone and it's done aggregation queries across the data set for this chart, and then picked out interesting things it's seen in the aggregate. So we do about 6 to 9 aggregations, depending on the table size and the filters. And then we send those to the large language model and have it pick out the most interesting ones alongside the analysis that you're doing. And then the last thing, a couple more things, is this entire document is fully editable. So I can go in here and I can delete everything that the large language model wrote. It's not chat where I have to try and convince the large language model to word things a certain way. If I don't like the output of the large language model, I can just delete it. And because it's a document, I have normal document editing features. So I can go in and I can make something bold. I can go in and I can make something underlined. I can also refine this text further with AI. If I, for example, want to select all of this, I can go in here and I can say, shorten this. And another floating window will pop up and quickly try and shorten this using another large language model. So AI is really also there as a helpful tool when writing. This should pop up any second, but we don't have to wait for it. It's going to pop up an elaborated version of this text for us. And then I can also go in and I can change, for example, add a heading in here, or make this bigger, make this nicer, big H1. I can go in and I can add a table, for example. And I can, where's my table gone? Give me a table. Thank you. I can add a table, for example. I can fill in tabular data. This isn't a full-blown Excel, can't do math, but I can start putting some headers in, like names, CI item, incident counts, and then make these all nice and bold, and then keep writing it. So it's a normal but simple block editor-based table system. I can drag things around. So if I want to move this table here, I can just go and do that. Come on. And it should move. Oh, it doesn't like to. Okay. But can move things around. We differentiate blocks of text that are AI generated versus human generated using the little AI tag. You can always go and edit those blocks, but we're trying to make it very clear to the user that this was a AI generated answer versus not. And then we have a refresh button if you want to update the data. We also have the ability to edit the questions if you didn't like the answer or the answer wasn't quite right. And you can also go in and edit the source. Yeah, I guess it's time for questions. Oh, and lastly, you can add to dashboard, and that's why I did at the end there. I can go from these and just quickly push them onto a chart by adding them to a dashboard. And then the system will create a dashboard for me and quickly put it there. So that's all automatic.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, we have a few. We have a few here that are more general. There's a couple that are more specific use cases, but I want to try to address the more general ones with the group because I think everyone gets something out of it. One question here is just it's a case where they have feedback data in the assessment metric results table, along with many other responses of surveys. Is there a way to apply this AI data exploration on the required subset of the whole table? I believe that answer is a yeah. What I'm looking at is basically, I'm applying a filter to a list view. Is one real simple way to say it.
You should be able to apply the filter. So you don't need to start with, or you can start with a filter if you have dashboard which is pre-filtered, that it will just persist it. But if your question is different, if your questions you're trying to go wider or narrow down, the AI will be able to edit.
I'm going to show a quick example of that.
Mm-hmm.
On the list view.
A related question about the table. Oh, yeah, actually, let's go ahead with this.
Yeah, so I'm on a list view here. I've got a blank list. I've got 3,000 items. I can ask that to show me P1 incidents. And let's ask for it. It'll show me a trend of P1 incidents, and it will go in from that list, and it will then apply the filter to it. And it's actually also made this a time series because I asked for a trend. Yeah. So that's an example of how you would do that.
Yeah. an example I'm thinking about from an assessment is something like, there might be, dozens or even hundreds of different assessments that have their results in the assessment table. But I only want to be analyzing responses from a specific assessment. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. You can just say,
Yeah.
just one,
As long as
just
as long as there's a way to filter it, right? Then
yeah.
you can. We
And I
it
know
also
what the
will
assessment
support.
data.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I know with assessment metrics, you can just tell it like which assessment, that's a
Yeah, because
field in the
it's a
table. So
reference, right? Which
yeah,
different assessments is just like a reference field, so
yeah,
you can filter it out. So it also will support the. Um, we are not finished yet. We'll still have part of presentation to go through.
yeah. Okay.
But we can see if there's, because there was some question about activations and licensing. I have it covered
Yeah.
in the next slides.
Okay.
So we can
Perfect.
go through that, and then we can answer some additional questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
As
Well,
we
let's do a couple of these, but if there's something that you'll be talking about here later, certainly just let us know. They're talking about, well, all tables and fields need to be joined in some form to ask AI questions, such
So
as how, yeah.
we do have, I mean, they need to be joined somehow, right, in the system. The systems need to know that there's a connection, whether it's M2M relationship, related tables, dot walking, like with reference fields, LLM reading the table structures and database structures, and it will do this connection. So the queries, right now, it's single query, which could include multi-table filters. If you have multiple questions in the exploration asked, which are not connected, LLM will take into account information before and try to do conclusion based on the correlations, if it's obvious already just from the insight of each answer. But generally, when you just ask the question, it will be only able to answer you if there's a relationship between it. For example, you can say, show me the users who have created at least 5 incidents in the last year, right? And then it's related list condition. Or show me the customers of the users who created, and then it's dot walking plus related list conditions. So those things are supported, but then you would need to have some relationships.
I think it sounds like something you will probably be getting to, but I just want to put it out there. Say they're asking for a description of how AI Data Explorer processes customer data. Specifically, clarify whether the LLM performs data processing within our ServiceNow instance, or if any processing occurs outside of our infrastructure.
So it depends on which LLM model you're going to use. So if you have on your instance all LLM models available, by default, to answer the questions, GPT-4 or model is used. So it live in the like it's using third-party models, but you can change it to the Now LLM, and then it will be used within ServiceNow infrastructure. It's still outside of the instance because the model is stored on our servers, but it's not used for anything. Like this data is not used for the training of the model. This data is not used for anything. It's just in and out, and it's never leaving our servers. It's never stored anywhere in any form.
I want to add that even for if you're using an OpenAI model, we have a very strict do not store contract with Azure through Azure with OpenAI. So it's that data is not being stored, like legally, that data is not being stored by OpenAI either. We use OpenAI models internally all the time. I know for some customers, they don't want to run the risk of that, and that's why there is an option to use Now LLM, which is then also hosted by us, and we verify that we do not store that data. Whereas with Azure, we have a very strong contractual protection that they should not store that data or trade on that data or do anything with that data. That data is never written to disk on Azure either, I believe. But double check with our legal team. They should also give you all the legal language. But I believe that, I know that Azure is also not storing and using that data for training either.
I know we've got a few others, but I think some of these are in common. Just want to see what you've got
Yeah,
to
we
talk
can
about
wait. Yep.
after this. But yeah, so why don't we go ahead?
Okay. So just to say which data is supported. So we support the table data. So by default, the semantic layer, this is what powers this our query generation models. By default, it will be enabled for all task extended tables, the key CMDB tables, and some base tables as users groups. But then you can easily add any other table in your instance, whether it's custom, other ServiceNow tables that you want to use AI on. When you like how you can see if you don't see this Explore with AI button on your list or on your data visualization, and it's based on the table data. The reason is probably that either you don't have role as a user, or like if assume that it is enabled, AI Explorer is enabled. So if you see it on one chart but not another, this chart probably has a table that it's not added to the semantic layer. So if you want it to be supported, you can just ask your admin to add it. We also support database views. By default, no database views are added, but if there's some database views which you're using, you can easily add it a simple way. I will show shortly how to do that. And also any tables based on the workflow data fabric data can be added as well in the similar way. Let's go quickly see how you can do it. If you go to the, if you type query generation, here you have all the configuration of the semantic layer, and where you can tune which table supported. You can see the logs. You can there's some jobs on the optimization. There's also a health page. So if you go to the semantic table config, and you will go open the table, you can just add here. You can see already which is added, and you can go ahead and click new. This instance is a bit slow, and it's like super simple form. So you just say which table you want to add, and you will say if it's if you want to enable the child hierarchy, if it's a parent table with a child table, so you want to that if you want to enable the hierarchy, and you just add it, right? If you say, hey, I want to add this table, you can just, and you're done. If you have a lot of tables, you need to, and it's pretty much like in a minute, it's already will be indexed and you can start using it. So it's very fast. If you have a lot of tables you want to enable, or like several, you can go also to the list of tables. And I might not have it on this instance yet, but like on the, you can multi-select tables in the list of tables and use the actions to add it to the query generation semantic layer, and then it will just add it in bunch. So that's how you add it. Let's talk a little bit on the activations and the licensing. So on the activations, like to use it, you will need to install AI Data Explorer plugins, which you will be able to find after we go live from the store. The license requirements, you will need Workflow Data Fabric license, plus you will need any Pro Plus package where you have some Now-Assist available. So it's a combination of both. And then once you have it, once you install it, you will go to the Now-Assist admin. Let's just go to the Now-Assist admin. Escape. Let's just go there. If you go to Now-Assist admin, from the Q4 release, if you go to Now-Assist skills, all the skills are available under data and analytics in the analytics sections. So you will search for the AI Data Explorer and query generation. So the query generation has 4 skills. They typically enabled by default. Those are which powers this answer generation, summary generation, the hidden insights, and the suggested follow-up questions, which AI Data Explorer feature is using as a source. And then for the AI Data Explorers, it has 3 skills which you need to recommend. The main one, which must be activated for you to use it, is Analytics Explorations. It will allow you to ask questions. Without it, you will just have an error message when you try to open AI Data Explorer that it's not active, and also you will not have any entry points like on the list and data visualization available. The exploration summary and refined text and explorations are optional skills, but we recommend to activate it. The exploration summarization, this is like when you have a summary of the entire explorations, which Daniel showed, and refined text is where you can select text and change the tone, shorten it, elaborate, etc. So once it's all active, then the skill is available, and in addition on being able to see directly from the data visualization and list, you can also just to go to AI Data Explorer in the main menu. I didn't load it, so main menu is AI Data Explorer. That's AI Data Explorer. And there you can ask questions. So if you don't have, maybe you're new or you don't know which, you don't have a dashboard yet, you don't know what the list is, you can just go here and ask your question straight from here, and it will have your explorations. You can also easily find all your explorations previously created. So if you want to go like, hey, this is one Daniel shared with me earlier, I can find it here easily. Let's go back to the next one. And the next is how can you tune the semantic layer. The first one we talked about how you can add tables. I showed it briefly. The other things is control which tables and fields are supported. Let's say, because by default we say all task tables are added. Maybe you want later on, you want to disable it, or you added some tables some time ago, you stopped using it, you want to disable it. Or there are some fields which you have table with a lot of fields and you want to disable some of them to disambiguate it for the model. This is, you will go under query generation in the entities and dimensions. Let's see, let's just go open it. Let's go entities. You can few things which you can do here. The simple things, if you testing it and something is like, hey, it's picking maybe the wrong table. Maybe you have too many change tables, or maybe you have the too many contract tables or whatever. Sometimes we have very similar table names, and the description on the systems is not ideal. You can add additional description here. For the semantic description, you can have more detailed information for the model to define it. Here you could also say, hey, if this table is, I want to disable it. We're not using it. In the company, you can go just deactivate it. Or you can also change you can see here for the table, you can see all the fields. You can deactivate specific field, maybe like, hey, these fields we actually not using at all. We have another field with a similar name which should be used for the model to not be confused. You can just disable it or add description, right? Sometimes description of the fields also not ideal, or like it's confusing which field is used for what. They can have similar descriptions. You can add additional semantic description. If the questions you're asking, you have a feedback that, hey, it's picking the right constantly picking the right column, the wrong column. That's what you can do to help system to understand that. So this is some tuning that can be done. And for the roles, I actually was here. For the roles, like the role to access for the users to be able to use and ask questions, you need to give user Now Assist Explorer user role. And if you want have a user who will be able to manage the semantic layer and the unit, you can use Now Assist Explorer admin user admin role, and they will be able to to control the semantic layer, so you don't need admin for that purpose. And with that, let's go for the questions.
Sure. We got a few here. So let me see here. Dan, you're at the top. You want to go with yours and I'll fall in line with mine? So we do them
Sure.
in order.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Some of these are just kind of some general availability. It was like, is this Data Explorer? Does it come by platform, or does it need to be activated by a plugin, by any plugins?
Yeah, as I mentioned, you will need to install AI Data Explorer plugin, and then it will have all the dependency needed for it installed.
And and it is not yet available in the store yet. Is that correct?
It's
No.
planned to be
Imminent.
available in December. So
Yeah.
Asking about availability in PDI, saying when will it be available? I don't know. Will it be available in PDIs eventually?
do we
Oh, I
have
think that's a
generally,
thing about assist, right? Whether or not assists are allowed in PDI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think they are, right?
I don't believe so. Right. And does anyone else have a more definitive answer? Because
No.
in general, I don't believe they anything that consumes assists
Right. Yeah.
are available. That if we get an update to that, we can update the notes on this
Yeah,
session. So
the way that have understood it to be. Yeah.
yeah, okay. And let's see. That's the open ones that I had marked.
Okay. All right. So, will there be an AI library of questions or shortcuts to help with prompts? I.e., is there a prompt quick reference listing? Is it needed, or is it just we'll understand what you ask?
So
go ahead.
on our roadmap is not necessarily a library of questions. Like the library of questions might come a bit later, but in our more immediate roadmap, we're going to work on shortcuts to help with complex prompts. We call them data segments. So it allows you to store in utterance, table, and filter combinations that you've worked on as a subject matter expert to try and encode things that a large language model will never guess you mean when you say something, or you say an abbreviation that's not defined in the data, that kind of thing. That more coming in the next release with the safe harbor associated with that. And then in the future, we might expand that capability to what would possibly resemble a library of questions and answers. But all those things serve to help answer your question, not necessarily to just like recall a question that you've just asked.
But generally, it should just understand what you mean in the most of the cases, right? It's like it's for very complex questions or like very ambiguous, then that's could be helpful, those things. But generally, there's no like if you ever used NLQ, which we had for several years, that one had a very structured way how you need to ask question. And that's why for the business users was not actually working that well because there's a very rigid way how you need to ask questions. With using LLMs, it will understand like it's if I'm having a very technical way to ask it, it will understand. If you have very business way to asking it, you can do it. There's no like specific way how you need to form your question. So generally, I mean, as long as you reference, I mean, it's good to be specific to mention which data you're looking for and like which dimensions in some way to help user LLM to choose, but there's no specific structure or anything else that it's needed.
Yeah. An example of where we use like our internal segments is for like understanding what the word Zurich means, right? Zurich is a place, but Zurich is a very long filter for us when we say, hey, show me defects from Zurich, show me stories from Zurich, show me applications that are being released in Zurich. Like that has a specific meaning, and we encode something like that in a segment because it's not as simple as for an LLM to figure out what Zurich means.
Okay, great. Thank you. Will it tell you if it needs a relationship to answer the question?
No, not directly. I mean, you'll ask the question and it will not be able to come up with the answer, and it will show you that, like, it will either say, I could not answer your question, or it will give you the wrong answer. It doesn't know necessarily what it doesn't know, so it tries to answer the question as best as possible. And sometimes it goes, there's absolutely nothing there. But if there's a similarity or it will try its best to answer that similarity. It doesn't know what the right answer is with all certainty, so it can't tell you that it's wrong.
But if relation is like something that may be related list or something, this information LLM does know, and then it would go and build a query with the like relationship which are available. Like if your questions requires multiple tables that have the M2M relationship or something, it will pick this query as to the level of the abilities of the LLM.
Some examples, if I say, hey, like filter this by the product field, and there's no product field, it knows there's no product field, but maybe there's a similar field like service, right? It might pick service thinking you mean service, and it might just be wrong. It might be right because we don't always know the right names or give the right labels of columns. But if there's no field anywhere related to the word product, it might just completely fail. So it really depends on how far off the data set is from what you're trying to ask for.
Okay, great. Thank you. Steven's got a longer question here, but it's a good one. So this seems like ServiceNow is revisiting the NLU report builder, except with an emphasis on analysis rather than making a visualization. NLU report builder was a deeply flawed application and had some well-documented drawbacks, especially around fields with labels that had similar sentiment, priority versus severity versus impact versus criticality, etc. There were also issues around users simply being unfamiliar with the schema, for example, field A being deprecated and replaced by field B, relevant data being available via simple dot walking but not on the table, etc. What has been done since then to address those issues? Either one of y'all want to
So
take a stab at that?
I can take that. To answer your question, Stephen, we basically completely built the application from the ground up as if the other one didn't exist. So it's a completely new tech stack. And like to go through in the way we do similarity of words, large language models are significantly more intelligent than what we were using before to determine what things are. And they can differentiate between the words priority, severity, impact, and criticality. The other thing around users being unfamiliar with the schema, we have the ability for you as an admin or subject matter expert to completely disable parts of the schema. We try our best to do that automatically, but obviously, a field may be used, but it's deprecated, but the data exists in the table. We can't guess that that field is deprecated. But if I take 1 second to share quickly, in the menu item, we have query generation. And I can go into here and I can go into dimensions, which is what we call columns, and I can just disable them. So if I know that on this specific table/entity that this column is wrong and should not be given to the AI, I can just go here and say false, and the AI will not know this column exists. So with some fine tuning from a subject matter expert or an admin, you can completely remove all the deprecated data that's in your tables. And it will then be more drawn towards the correct data because it doesn't have the confusion. So yeah. And you can do the same thing for entities. So I can disable tables. If I've got two contract tables, an old contract table and a new contract table, I can go in here and I can just disable the old contract table, and it's as if it doesn't exist to the large language model.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Daniel. Let me see. Do we have any other that are flagged? I mean, we can answer this. I don't know. We'll see. If AI can't answer non-join table question, can it provide ServiceNow a high ticket response to have it debugged or fixed? Or is that just an enable? I mean, it just doesn't work, or we haven't created that yet.
I don't even understand the question. So
Yeah,
like,
I was a little.
it can provide, like, can auto open a ticket. We're not allowed access to your utterances because it's personally identifying information. So like without you consenting, we can't feed in what you're actually doing with these models in the same way Azure doesn't know what you're doing with these models, or OpenAI doesn't. We don't know either. If you have an issue, you can open a ticket and you can give us that information willingly, and then we can look into it. But we can't automatically collect the data. It's private.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah, it's the same way. It's like if the product doesn't work, you can create a ticket to get assistance.
Yeah.
I mean, you can first check like the documentation and tune in the model, but if you cannot figure out, you can open the ticket and the expert will help you to see if it can be tuned to improve the accuracy for your specific questions.
Will this application be compliant with the federal mandate for accessibility coming in April 2026, and how will you keep up with those requirements?
I'm not familiar with the mandate which is coming in April 2026, but generally, if ServiceNow will be compliant with it, our application will also be compliant with it. If somebody have, I'm not personally familiar with the new mandate. If it's right now, I can say what now we WCAG 2.1 WA compliant. If it's the
Yeah.
same as the
So
entire service now, if there will be a new mandate that we will get, like ServiceNow will up the accessibility requirements and we'll get extra guidelines. If that's a federal mandate, I'm pretty much sure ServiceNow will do something like that. I'm not sure exactly the timeline, and then all the application, including this one, will have this as well.
the federal mandate is for WCAG 2.1 AA, which I believe that we're already at.
Okay,
So
then if it's that, then it should already have it. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
So we
great.
should be okay.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
yeah. How large of external? So currently we don't support external data files for AI Data Explorer. So it's as large as you can put into the table. If you can load those, you can. There is ways to load data into a table from a file. We don't have a limit on the table size. We've tested with quite large tables on our end. And we've built safeguards around that a little bit, but we're always aggregating data. So because we're mostly aggregating data, it's as good as you can make a visualization on a table of 1 billion rows and make a time series of that. It's the same thing from a tech perspective.
Okay, great. Thank you. Dan is answering one via type, so we'll go ahead and close out. We have a few more minutes here. So, Olga, Daniel, thank you very much for the in-depth demo and presentation. Of course, answering the questions. We get some really good questions, so I'm glad we're able to get those all answered. So, and I think that people are going to be super excited about this. I mean, just showing simply with the hearts and the claps and the thumbs up that are going up via the share, that's super, super awesome. So, thank you both. I actually had that is not supposed to say AI data snapshots. That should say AI data explorer. So forgive me. But here is a sway. And when you scan this QR, it'll actually give you more information. So you can share that within your organization itself. That's going to give you a little bit more quick information about AI data explorer, not snapshots. However, if you are interested in data snapshots on Yokohama or RaptorDB Pro and you want more information about that, that would be the unlimited breakdowns. Then this is where you want to get that information. Here's a quick video that'll kind of show you that information. Make sure you're checking out the community. It has changed a little bit. We have the ability for more hot topics and an actual video that we can put up there. The current video that's there is about CXO dashboards, which is something that we're going to have an Academy session the 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. So that'll be super awesome to see that as well. Make sure that you're utilizing Impact. If you have Impact, there's some really great accelerators that are out there that you should be looking at. Of course, ServiceNow University, all kinds of training that's there as well, and expert services. So if you need some help doing some particular things inside of ServiceNow that you yourself can't figure out, then expert services is definitely the place to go. So we had a question come in. No support case on mixing functionality for scheduling reports for PA. Is that a follow-up to something somebody answered?
Yeah, I think that was one for me. On so that's so what you can do. I put my email address in the response on the Q&A. So if you would just contact me on that, and then because I don't know unless someone else on our panel knows, but it's missing functionality that used to exist in scheduled reports that are no longer after migration. I was going to look it up. If you could ping me with an email, I can look that up unless somebody here knows of any updates.
Sounds like an email would be the best way.
I will tell. Yeah. So if you could, go ahead and send me an email on that, and I can try to follow up for you.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. And of course, as I mentioned, in a couple of weeks here in the States, it will be Thanksgiving. So we won't have a session. That is the day before. We won't have a session then, but we'll pick it up 2 weeks after that with the CXO dashboard. So with that, thank you again. Thank you,
Thomas.
to
Thomas,
the.
actually,
Yep.
actually got one quick thing to ask. Back on the
Sure.
community slide, real quick. I want to make sure that we point out the new Migration Central. That's the main thing because I know a lot of the questions. So I just want to make sure you just point that one out specifically. That is so that's where we're trying to consolidate everything about migration. So that just as a heads up for that, so it's a central
Yeah,
place
if
to
you
go.
have any questions or anything about migration and things like that, that Migration Central is the place to go. Yep. Good catch, Dan. Thanks for that. So with that, thanks to everybody that joined. We really appreciate it. Thank you again to our presenters, and we'll see everybody in a month. Have a good holiday. Thank you.